Hello everyone and welcome to Shaper Sessions. My name is Jake.
And I'm Russ.
And today, there's a good chance that some of you out there just happen to get one of these in the package that you purchased. It's a customizable MINI Systainer.
That's right. If you picked up Origin between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we sent you one of these. We've sent them to a bunch of folks in the past too, so maybe you've got one kicking around in your shop, or maybe you've got a tool organization project that you're thinking about for 2025. We're going to teach you how to customize the foam on the inside of one of these, walk through the process from designing 3 different ways with Origin, Studio, and Trace, how to set it up on Workstation, how to set up bigger foam if you're customizing a Sys1, for example. And at the end of the day, we're going to have a customized toolbox for some layout tools. We've got a folding ruler, we've got a protractor, a pencil, and our combo square. So,
all things that you want to have on you quickly and easily accessible.
All things you want to have on you quickly and easily accessible. That's what these little portable toolboxes are for. Yeah, as always, this is our live show every other Thursday. We're getting wound back up for the new year. I think we missed Christmas, understandably so.
We took a break.
We took a break for Christmas. We're going to do this every other Thursday all year. Thanks for joining us. Keep coming back. During the show, please, please, please ask questions, because at the end, we're going to do some live demonstrations answering those questions. Also, we've got Ted in the chat answering questions. And halfway through the show, we're going to throw up a poll question. When you enter that poll question, you're going to be entered to a giveaway that we're doing at the end of the show. We're going to give away some router bits, some collets, maybe a t-shirt or 2.
Yep. Right on. All right, like we said, we got 3 different ways to do this, so I say we get right into it.
Okay. What are we looking at here?
So in the MINI Systainer is a block of foam. If you hop over to that overhead camera for me, you'll see it in my workstation, taped down to the shelf with some double-sided tape. And that's our starting point.
Yeah. We know a lot of you at home have Workstation. It's our solution for fixturing vertical stuff and also awkward but smaller flat stuff like this. If you picked up Origin between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we're going to be doing 2 training classes next week that are going to walk through all the different ways that you can use Workstation. But for now, we're just sticking this to that shelf. And you did something tricky with this shelf too, Jake.
Yeah,
I made it a little bigger.
Made the shelf a little bigger. If you want to hop to that side camera, you can either screw it to the existing shelf, or you can just use double-sided tape and attach a slightly larger platform. Again, we don't like to go too far out, just because you get farther and farther away from the tape. But something like this, perfectly acceptable.
Nice. So we just got that double-sided tape. We stuck down the foam down to this XL shelf. And now what are we going to do?
All right, I've already scanned everything in, but here is what we're looking at. And we're going to use one of our new features that we recently released called Probe Rectangle. So I essentially want to find the center of this box to kind of create a boundary for what we're going to be building inside of it today.
Yeah, that makes sense. We've got to design some shapes so that we can cut out the shapes for this ruler first, is the first thing that we're going to do. And we want to make sure that that's aligned to the foam. This rectangle probe is a great way to get that alignment, get the XY alignment, make sure that everything is square, and also get our center point, because later we're going to export this design, this workspace, to Studio and add some tools in Studio as well. So getting this rectangle probe is going to give us the center of this kind of funny shape, and give us the alignment that we need to make sure that everything's nice and square in our toolbox.
And I'm being really cautious. I have the engraving bit in backwards, but I'm trying, the foam is soft, so I'm making sure that I'm not depressing it at all, just making contact with it. But there you go. After those 5 points, I have a nice clean bounding box and a center point.
Cool.
First one's first. Let's do the pencil.
Yeah. So 3 ways to design the templates that we're going to cut out here. The first one is just to design some simple shapes on Origin. We've got this whole list of shapes that you can make. Jake's going to build a rectangle right now. He's grabbing the length and the width of this pencil just with his shaper calipers . and clicking that button to send that measurement right to Origin.
Boom. I'm going to grab that top middle anchor point. Just kind of zoom in to give me a better idea of where I'm at.
Yeah, we want that pretty close to the top, but not dangerously close to the top.
Yeah. Cutting foam. The only trick to cutting foam is that it will move out of your way unless you're cutting into enough of it. So, what do you think? 1/4 inch down from the top?
I think 1/4 inch is good.
Centered. Great. Place that. And then onto our folding ruler.
We know that this one's 240 millimeters long because it says it on the ruler.
There you go. So I'll do width 240 millimeters. And our height is 1.351.
All right.
Same deal. Grab that middle anchor point.
I think we could make this a little closer to that pencil. Maybe an 1/8 inch from the pencil.
That looks like 3/16.
3/16. Okay.
Feel
Deal.
right? And we're getting real close to the edges there, but it does fit. Cool.
That's what's so nice about finding that center point. You don't have to measure it out with a tape measure.
Exactly.
It's all right on center.
All right. Next things we want to do is, just for ease, we're going to set our depth. I like to have everything kind of, whoops. There we go. Just want everything to be flush.
You're going in and setting the encoded depth for these. Is that what's going on?
Exactly.
So you've got 3 measurements, your length, your width, and your depth. We can set all 3 of these in advance. And then when you come back and set that depth to actually cut with Origin, you want to make sure that you're cutting up to and not past that encoded depth. It's kind of like a bookmark or like a reminder. And with that, I mean, I think we're ready to just go through the settings and get ready to cut this. We've gone through scan. We've gone through design. That's all there is to it, to designing a simple shape on Origin. And now we're going to go ahead and cut. So what do we need to check off first?
All right, we're going to start up here. I am going to double check my depth, 0.295. I'm just going to go straight to it.
We've got an inside cut.
Inside cut.
That's clearing out the whole area. No offset on this one.
You know, with foam, I found that you can do an offset. It cleans it up a little bit. Let's do an offset. Do a roughing and a finishing pass. There we go. So I'm using auto pass just to automate that whole process.
And if you've seen sessions before, you already know about this. If you're new to Origin and sessions, we're going to teach you all about this next week, so stay tuned for that. Now, what else do we have? We've got your bit diameter already set.
Yep, but I do have to put the proper bit in there.
Oh, it would be hard to cut with that probing bit in there.
Today we're using what we call, it's our foam cutting bit, but it can do a whole lot more. It's actually a 1.5 inch long by 1/4 inch O-flute. So great for cutting that thick foam.
The 1.5 inch is great for the reach. The O-flute is great for clearing out those big foam chips.
And speed, I'm going to run it about 4.
Always want a Z-touch when we change bits.
And I'm not going to Z-touch on the foam. I have 2 options. I could either Z-touch up here on the surface of Workstation, or I could manual Z-touch on the surface of the foam. I think the surface of Workstation is going to work just fine for us today. So we're good there. And then speeds, always good to double check. My auto's at 20, plunge at default.
You like that, 20? That's
like
faster than the default, right?
I believe default's 10. I usually run 15. 15,
Okay.
15.
Okay. So as long as you check off those 6 options on the left-hand side there, you've got your design already done. That's the template. All we need to do is turn the spindle on and cut.
Let's do it.
So this is going to be a quick one. You'll see a lot of this during the show, but you can see Jake just following that dotted line there. That first little bit is Origin plunging as he drives with auto pass, just ramping down into that cut. Now he's following along that dotted line path. Now he's transitioning to that finish pass, just taking off a little bit more material on this last pass, and that gives you a cleaner result. With foam, it's less of a significant change than it is with something like wood, but we like to do it out of habit and out of practice. And there it is. That's one straight rectangular cut, which should fit this pencil.
Perfect.
Yeah?
Well, now that it's in there, I'm realizing what we didn't add. It's a little spot to actually pick it out.
Mm-hmm.
A finger hole.
Mm-hmm. You want to cut the ruler and then maybe add something between the two of them?
Perfect.
So we've got this ruler set here. You've got the depth on that one. This is significantly deeper than that pencil we're going to eventually. And do you want to do that in one pass or two?
I'm going to do it in one. It really doesn't feel any different with foam. So might as well just make it one pass.
This foam is just so soft that you can really go for it.
Yeah.
But you do need to pocket out that big area. So we are going to take 2 steps with this. You're going to pocket out the mass of this ruler pocket, and then we're going to go back and change that to an inside cut. You'll see if we zoom in that there's a little bit of a buffer between the pocket and the edge of that template. So we're going to come back in with the inside cut and clean that up all the way to the edge of the green line.
All right. Let's do it.
With pocketing, Origin works just like a standard plunge router. So you can see Jake moving that router around inside the pocket, and the dot, which represents the spindle, is staying locked to the center of those crosshairs. But then when he reaches the edge of that pocket, that's when Origin's auto correction kicks in. And so that's going to keep you from going outside the lines on these pockets. You want to stay inside the lines, and that's what Origin's auto correction does. When you're pocketing like this, especially with harder materials, you want to be cautious of the difference between climb cutting and conventional cutting. With conventional cutting, Origin's going to tend to want to run away from you, just like any other router. That bit is going the same direction that you're pushing, and so it wants to grab and run away. With foam, again, with softer materials, it makes less of a difference, but it's a good thing to remember, especially when you're planning to work with wood later to build those habits. So we're just pocketing all this out, kind of free form, doing a little chunk at a time. And then after Jake's done pocketing all of this, we'll go back for that inside cut. So that's it. Once the whole thing's blue, then you're done. We've got a chunk of foam in there. The foam does tend to do this. It tends to fold over a little bit and give you some chunks that you might need to pause and pick out. So if you ever feel anything get caught up in the spindle, make sure you take a second to pause, turn everything off, and pull that out of the way. So Jake pulled a big chunk out of there before he switched to this inside cut. And now that we're on that inside cut, you see that dotted line reappear. That dotted line is going to give us a very clean, smooth finish at the edge of the pocket for this ruler. And as Jake's following along, you can see he's floating kind of toward and away from that dotted line, but the dot, which represents the center of the spindle, which represents your router bit, is staying locked to that dotted line, keeping him right on the path. Foam's fun because I feel like you'll never remove so much material so quickly any other way.
Yeah.
How's it look?
It looks great. Do a quick test fit.
A little snug?
That's snug. I mean, for a toolbox, something that we want to be able to just pop in and out, I think
I'd
I'm going to
open
take
it up a little bit.
a little bit off. And by a little bit, I'm just going to say negative 0.02.
Sure.
It's big.
Yeah, plenty of room.
All right.
Always remember a negative offset removes more material, so here we're removing 0.02 inches around the perimeter of this pocket. That's about 0.5 millimeter on any side. And if you're new to this, offsets can be one of the more confusing things about working with Origin, so don't worry, we are going to cover that again in that training next week. But just know for now that it's a way to fine-tune the fit of everything that you do with Origin, whether it's box joints or dovetails or hardware installs, or fitting a tool into a customizable toolbox.
That's... Uh-oh. Talk amongst yourselves.
It's now a puzzle box.
Yeah, that's very much in there. You know, for doing offsets on foam, you can go a little bit bigger because, again, you're cutting it, but you're also kind of pushing it away. So trying to take 1/1000th of an inch off foam is not going to do as much as wood.
It's not doing much.
There we go.
So I think we need that relief cut that you were talking about.
We do. And let's kind of plan out where we want it.
What if we do it just right in the middle between the two?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I like it.
So we're going back to design mode here. And we're going to create. You can see all those shapes that we can make, but we're going to pick a circle for this one. And
I could do a circle, or I could just do one long slot that crosses both of them.
Sure. Do we have room for a slot? I don't think we have room to go beyond either of them. We just need a little thing
point.
in between the two.
All right, so we're going to create a circle. Just something like 1 inch diameter. I want to go up 1.25. Whoop. Wrong direction. That should be sufficient.
Yeah. Just a little something in between.
And again, do a pocket first. Could go down to that same depth.
Yeah? Of the ruler?
Yeah.
I like that.
All right.
Just a quick little pocket to clear this out. And that foam is floppy, so it's good to backtrack and sometimes even cover again the area that you've already done, because you never know when it's folded out of the way, especially on those little slivers between parts.
Nice.
Feel better?
Much better. Pop the pencil in. And a ruler.
Yeah.
Nice.
Cool.
Still a little tight.
Still sticky. You want to open it up some more?
I think I need to put one down here.
I don't think we have room there.
Well, then we'll figure that out later.
We'll get to it. We got to get into the studio design.
Okay.
We've got two more things to fit in this, and they're big. They're this protractor here.
Yep.
And this combo square. So we've got two more ways to design stuff for Origin. We've got Studio, and then we've got Trace. And we want to be able to lay both of these things out in the computer relative to this pad that we've already started.
Exactly.
So one cool thing that you're able to do as of what, October, September last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
October
is export from Origin out to Shaper Studio. So we're going to go ahead and walk through that process. Then we'll be able to pull up what we've already worked on, this super simple design from Origin. We'll be able to make it a little bit more complex with these bigger shapes in the computer.
Nice. So I went from cut back up into design. We have our export button that's now available. And I'm going to name this MINI Sys. Done. I want to make sure that I include that grid. Export. And now goes up and then back down over to Russ.
It does. It literally goes out to space. It goes to satellites. Isn't that crazy? Okay, so we're here on the computer. We're on Shaper Hub. This is where we start for designing projects. You can get to Studio from here really easily. The one thing that I want to pause and take a look at first is to see if anyone has shared a Studio design of this MINI Systainer outline. I think that's going to be really useful because we have the bounding box, the rectangular bounding box of this, but it doesn't include all of these cutouts. So this is in the new Studio Sharing tab on Shaper Hub. This is where you can find a whole bunch of different projects that you can remix in different ways and make them your own. So for example, you could take this pattern and tile it to add texture to a cutting board or a serving platter. You've got this simple clock that you can resize and make your own, add your own hands to it. You've got this cutting board handle that you can add whatever shape, round, oval, rectangular cutting board, serving board that you want onto that. But we're going to pause here and use this MINI Systainer. If I click on this, it lets me open it in Studio. And I'm going to sync it to my files, and then I'm going to edit this. And let's call this Sessions MINI Systainer. Okay, now I want to drop everything that we've done on Origin into this design. What I'm going to do is import that from my files. That's this one, MINI Systainer outline.
Just MINI Sys.
MINI Sys, there we go. Yeah, so this is what we saved from Origin. Import that Studio design. We can do this all together. Place one object. And it remembers that center grid point from that rectangle. It's going to automatically snap that to the center of this design with the custom anchor point. And you can see I've got my bounding box here. What I want to do is I am going to shapeshift this so I get rid of that rectangular bounding box. What do you think, Jake?
Works for me.
Shapeshift this. Let's break these shapes out. We're going to make this a shape. You know what I should have done? I should have imported it as an exploded.
I was going to ask you that the difference is.
Yeah, okay, object. Let's go through that. Let's import this again from my files. I just undid that with the Control-Z. You didn't see that button pressed there, but that was a Control-Z. MINI Sys, import. Okay, what's the difference between all together or exploded? All together is going to make these all one shape. If I try to delete one thing, it's going to delete all of them. Exploded is going to make these 4 separate objects, which is what I want for this because I want to be able to get rid of that bounding box.
Nice.
Let's place that. Now I can pick that and delete it. That's better.
Perfect.
Okay, so, let's do a quick gut check here. Can we lay these out on the foam just to see where we want them?
That's a very
to make sure that I've got it right. I think that one goes in the bottom right corner.
Something like right there.
Something like that. And this goes in the left side. Does that fit pretty well?
That is pretty good.
Okay, cool. So the combo square is going to be our trace demo. The protractor is what we're going to build in Studio. So I'll take that protractor back and build it out. This is technically 2 parts, but I think we could just do this as one depth.
Yeah.
What do you think? Okay, so let's build this. If we look at this, it's just 2 rectangles in this kind of profile orientation. It's this taller, more hamburger rectangle and the longer hot dog rectangle going off of it. So we'll just draw this in Studio by measuring and transferring those measurements over. We just need to make 2 rectangles to start. Let's make one here. This will be our hamburger rectangle. Let's call this measuring
Is that a technical term?
3.6 inches wide. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, widely used in industry. 3.6 wide and 2.08 tall. So let's bring that over here. 3.6 wide and 2.08 tall.
Yep.
There's one. Let's make another one. This will be... Let's just do the whole width of this. This is why it's good to have those 8-inch calipers. 7.64 long. 7.64 wide and 0.53 tall. 7.64 and 0.53. Okay. Let's make sure that our snapping's on. I'm going to turn off snap to grid because so much snapping can make it difficult, but smart alignment is what's going to help me align these two rectangles to each other, and I can just drag that. Bam, there's those two. Don't mind that this is in the middle. We can shift select to grab both of these and drag them farther over to where we want. I think that's pretty good. Is that about where that was, Jake?
Yes. Wait.
We're doing another gut check here.
I think you got to go up and over to the right.
I was
more.
up and over that corner.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do that. What do you think about that?
Perfect.
All right. And now I want these to be all one shape. Shift click to select both. Shape shift. Select all. Make a new shape. And now we've got one protractor sized double rectangle. What do you think?
That's perfect. I'm just measuring your depth here.
I was just going to let that stick up.
Yeah, that's true.
But what's the thickness of the two sheet metal parts?
That is 0.085.
Okay, so let's drop into plan mode here. Select this new shape. Depth, 0.085. Let's make this a pocket cut to start. And Jake will probably want to clear this out with a big bit and then come back in with a smaller router bit just to get the corners.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's all done? It's in there?
It's in there. I think we should take a break before we design the combo square.
I was excited. Okay.
Yeah, let's design the combo square. Make sure that everything fits in here before we cut stuff out.
That's a very good choice.
And then cut it.
All right. Now is the time where that question can pop up on the screen to answer, so you can enter yourself into a chance to win some giveaways at the end of the show. Question of the day is, what kind of projects do you got planned for 2025? We're curious just to see what you're scheming.
Yeah. Tell us your schemes. Can't wait to hear that. And we're going to do that giveaway at the end of the show. Keep asking questions. Also, by the way, we don't have any announcements today. We're just starting the year. Clean slate. But we do have a shop tour. This one's from Steve R., and this is a crazy shop. Did you watch this one before the show, Jake?
No, I like to keep these as surprises.
Just you wait.
Hey, so this is my shop tour.
Oh, here we go. We're starting. No, let's roll it. Thanks.
Okay, so this is my shop tour, and I'm going to whip through it fast because of time. So walk into my shop. Behind the door, I've got a Shopfox molder planer, an Agazani 24-inch bandsaw I've got set up for resaw, a Minimax FS41 ES joiner planer combo. It's got the Tersa heads. A cabinet for my blade storage for my saw. Crazy Horse dolly. Need to make a trip to the burn pile, but the burn bans have slowed me up. This is my Martin T60 Classic sliding table saw. I've got air clamps on it. I've got a shop-made Fritz and Franz jig. And my dust collection, I've got it set up for remote actuation of this push-pull. Back up in that corner is blast gate. And I can operate this remotely because it's a little difficult to access. Back behind the saw, I've got an air compressor back there, a cart with exotic woods that I can't throw away, and a shop cart for handling panel goods, Magi 21 spindle boring machine, PZ glue station, vertical lumber storage. I just added this recently, which is a safety speed cut pocket hole machine. Various Festool tools, shaper that I keep here. French cleat wall with various accessories for the shaper, joint maker pro, and table saw. An Avid 48 by 48 CNC machine. Various miscellaneous hardware and stuff back there. Same thing, miscellaneous tools, tool cabinet. Hand tools are in the wall cabinet. This is my Diefenbach workbench. I pulled out some projects that I've got for an upcoming art walk. This is a bow front jewelry box. The dovetail sockets for the half-blind dovetails in the doors were done using shaper. An epoxy inlay hummingbird. This is a splayed side hexagonal box. And a box, same box with a Kumiko lid. This is my current project, which is a garden bench. The material is Kangalo Alvis, which has very fine splinters. And it sits atop a Barth 500V vacuum table. Hydraulically adjustable, great table. This is a smaller Barth cart. This is my first use of the panel router, was doing the joinery on the garden bench. Dust collection, not quite Festool rated. And it creates a lot of chips. I've already emptied this thing twice using on the joinery for that garden bench. This is my sanding area. I've got a Jet 20-inch disc sander, which doesn't get a whole lot of use anymore. This is a Powermatic 2244 drum sander. A Kundig Unic edge sander. It has the veneer sanding attachment. I've just recently added the power feeder that I had sitting around the shop. It's got oscillating spindle sander, end sander for the drive drum, and regular edge sander, all built into one. I've got a Powermatic 14-inch bandsaw that I use for smaller and curved work. It's on a mobile stand, a Bridgewood buffer, Felder RL160 dust collector. RL stands for really loud. This is a Capex mobile workstation. I'll pull it out when necessary. Doesn't get a whole lot of use because I've got the sliding table saw. And a router table. This is a Hoffman MU3 dovetail machine. It's what I use for all the boxes and frames and the like. And this is a Red Baron made by Ganymat hinge boring machine. Clamp storage on the wall. And what I'll refer to as my big shaper, which is a Felder Format 4 Profile 45Z shaper. It's got a Comatic DC40 on a smart stand. Back here I've got my shaper tooling, which seems to be overflowing, needs just a general cleanup. First aid kit, fire extinguisher, and this is my Phase Perfect phase converter. So thanks for watching.
Whoa.
Direct and to the point.
You know how some people walk into a garage and they have like an incredible car collection that just like makes your mouth drop? That's how I just felt.
Drool. Yeah.
Like every tool is like, oh yeah, that's like top of the line. That's super cool. Thank you so much for sending that in. Mm-hmm. I'm dying to know what you do.
Yeah, send some pics of bigger projects. Those crazy horse dollies, those are really great. We should get one for here. I saw one for the first time this fall.
Yeah. Seems like
super handy.
Very handy.
Moving sheet goods around flat on the top of that thing. Feed it right into the table saw.
Perfect.
Pretty good.
Cool. Thanks so much.
Yes, thank you. Send us more shop tours, by the way. Everybody watching, could be a small shop. We should get more small shops.
We love small shops.
Want people to show off their small shops. Show us a compact shop.
Yeah, we had one guy send in, it was like the bottom of a basement, real tight corner, but he had everything he needed in there.
Yeah, that was like a 80 square foot shop.
Yeah.
That was cool. Anyway, send us your shop tour. sessions@shapertools.com is our email address. 3-ish minutes, landscape mode, narrated. One that we've got coming up in the next couple of weeks has a music background, which I thought was pretty nice.
That's optional, but appreciated.
Optional, but appreciated. Yeah. Shall we get back to it?
Let's do it.
Okay, so
Third way.
We've designed with Origin. We sent that Origin design into Studio so that we could add more stuff. We designed some rectangles and shape-shifted them together in Studio. But we've got this really complex combo square that I want to get the actual profile for this of. And this is what Trace is really good for. So I drew this out before the show. How should we do this? We should show this on the overhead camera, I think, just so people could see it. How's that look? Yeah, there we go. Cool.
Okay.
So that's my tracing. You can see actually that it's kind of nasty. I've got some really bad lines on that, but I'm going to show you why that doesn't matter and a really good tip for cleaning up kind of, what would you call that, messy tracings like that. So the first step always is to open up the app, trace.shapertools.com, and it'll ask me to allow my camera. Allow that, because it does need to see the photo. Bring that over until it turns black and white. Ooh, let's try again. Let's get a little reload here. There we go. There we go. There's that trace. And you can see on the outside of these lines that that those are kind of nasty. I did a sloppy job tracing this. But what's cool is that the inside of these lines, Trace captures the inside and the outside of each line that you take. And the inside of these lines are nice and clean because the inside of these lines were butting up against the combo square itself. So you can't make a mess on the inside of the line. The mess is always going to be on the outside of the line. You can clean this up in the Trace app itself by going into this slider button on the right and using this remove/select dialog here. We could just select this nice clean line, for example. I'm actually going to do all of this in Studio, so I'm going to cancel this and save this as a my file, as my files. Save it in my files. I'm going to save it as a file.
In my files.
In my files. Let's call this combo square. I'm going to save it as a my files. Saved to my files. Nice. And we can do all this same kind of shape-shifting cleanup in Studio itself. Okay. Now we can pop back over to the computer where we've got Studio still pulled up, and this design is going to show up now in my Import tab. So I can go to File, Import. From my files, that's where I saved this, and we've got Combo Square right at the top. Import. This one I'm going to place all together because I want it to be super easy to move around. We'll do some shape shifting to clean this up. And okay, what do I want to do first? I want to rotate this into place. Because I've got the snapping turned on, I might need to just kind of bump that rotation with the rotation field here. Let's try 91 degrees. I just want to get this nice and squared up. We've got a little bit more to go. How's 92? 91, 92 is a little much. Let's do 91.7. I think that's pretty good. What do you think? Should I go 91.6?
Deselect it for a second.
Oh.
Yeah, a little less.
A little less.
91.5.
91.55. Split the difference. Okay, anyway, there we go. We got that. I'm going to zoom back out. This zoom to fit is a really nice button to have. And let's drag this around and put it where we want. Okay, we do need to fit the two of these next to each other. Ooh, that's an anchor point there. Yeah, I think we do want this above that.
Mm-hmm.
And this we can move up a little bit. I think that's actually pretty good because, again, we're going to take the inside of all of these lines.
True.
Yeah, so let's clean this up a little bit. I want to clean up this shape by shape shifting, and I'm going to take just this piece and make that into a shape. Okay, now this one on the bottom, this is the shape of the body of the combo square. We're going to cut this down to a different depth from the depth of this ruler piece itself, because they're different heights. The trick here is that because I have a line dividing these two in my drawing, I actually want to make a bigger rectangle that covers this whole thing, because I want to be able to clear out this area in here also. I want to be able to cut away this section that if you zoom in again, you can see there's a gap there. Okay, so do another rectangle. And this one we can just drag around to get it in the right place. I'm going to pick that upper left anchor point, snap that there, bring this all the way over, bring this up.
I can tell you exactly what size it is.
Good, or I could just eyeball it.
Well, you could.
What size is it, Jake?
It's exactly 6 inches in length.
It's 6 inches long? Okay, let's do that.
And to the 1,000th, 0.75.
0.75.
Good job, stare
Nice. Yeah. Okay. So we can bump this over so that matches the edge there. Yeah, that's good. It's foam. It'll work. Now, I can take this piece, and what I really want to keep out of all this is just this. We were using this bigger rectangle as a reference. So if I make that shape, now I've got two separate shapes.
Perfect.
Recenter. I think that looks pretty good.
Yep.
What do you think?
And a little bit of extra room if in the future you want to add some more things.
Yeah, we could add something in there. A little tape measure. A tiny one, a keyring tape measure like the one you carry around. Okay, let's make sure we've got our depths on this. I also want to make sure that these are both pocket cuts.
Depth for the body.
I think what I want to do is just the depth of the blade and then whatever additional depth for the body so that the blade sits flush.
So the blade sits flush and the body sits above.
Yeah. So what's the thickness of that blade?
0.078.
0.078. Okay. And then what is the distance from the edge of the body to the edge of the blade?
0.3. 0.3.
Oh, you've got the total there.
Yeah, from the top to the bottom of the body.
Okay. 0.3. That's it. Let's I'm going to make all of these pockets in here just so that review looks realistic. And then we'll go ahead and review this. Yeah, we've got some kind of ghosts of shapes here, but these two look really good. We've got that blade and then the body that sits deeper, and then we've got that protractor right there.
Sweet.
Okay, so now what's so cool about this is that all of this has been designed in that same exact coordinate system that Jake already set up. So we've got the center point on here, the center point on Studio is the same still as the center point on that rectangle. So we can take this design, place it right back down on top of what's already been done, and then we can add these two new shapes.
All right, let's find it in import. Right there at the top of the list. And place at 0, 0. Sweet. Okay.
So you've got a lot of cutting to do.
I got some cutting to do.
You want to pocket what? You want to pocket both of these out, or do you want to pocket and then inside cut? Just so I know what's going on in the background here.
I should pocket everything, and then I'll come back in with the 1/8 inch and do inside cuts.
Okay. And can you walk us through all of your cut settings, including speeds and the router bits that you're using?
Yes, so everything's stayed the same for the 1/4 inch O flute. Got that speed 4 on the spindle itself, going down to our set depth of 0.085 in a pocket, no offset. I will probably give it the same 0.02 offset as we did with the ruler.
Let's just start with that now.
Okay. 0.02 in the negative direction. already Z-touched, and speeds remain the same.
Okay.
All right.
So we've got a lot of wide, flat pocketing out to do. Origin will keep up with you as fast as you want to run it. So especially when you're not removing much material like this, you can really just go to town. Jake's got his spindle speed turned down. That's mostly so we don't burn or melt the foam, but it doesn't mean that you need to move slowly. You can keep it cranking with this. That's actually something that you want to be cautious of with foam, is that if you dwell too long and heat things up in one place with wood, you get burn marks. But if you dwell too long in one place with foam and you heat things up, they actually melt and start sticking to things in a really nasty way. So you do want to make sure you keep moving. When unsure, make sure you turn that spindle speed down and try moving the router a little bit faster or turning your auto speed up. When things get melty, that's when they start to stick. That's when you get nasty foam residue stuck to your router bit, which is a negative reinforcement loop there. More stuff stuck to the router bit just creates more and more friction and more heat. And then it just gets worse and worse, frankly. So you want to make sure that you keep moving. If you get in that situation, make sure you keep your bits clean. We just launched at the end of last year the Schaefer Bit Washer, which is a very handy way to keep those bits clean. It's an ultrasonic cleaner. And what that ultrasonic tech does is it creates what they call microcavitation, these tiny little aggressive bubbles right at the surface. And not just bubbles, but like bubbles of vacuum that blast away resin from woods or plastics and things like that, and helps the bit cleaner get in there and do its job. So we've got a special formulated bit cleaner also for this. Works really well. Anyway, Jake's now working on the body of this combo square. And remember, we're going over that ruler area twice so that we can get the combo square body in there, because there is some overlap there. There we go. Still picking out that foam as you go.
Yeah. All right, switching over to the 1/8 inch. Now this is just our standard 1/8 inch that comes with Origin.
Mm-hmm.
But it will cut foam.
Anything will cut foam.
Anything
really.
will cut foam.
Anything will cut foam. Unless you've got like a, I don't know, one of those burr abrasive bits for like tile.
That might cut foam. Oh, yeah.
I think that would just burn foam. You do want an edge. Those abrasive bits, the burrs at least work. The burrs work okay for wood. Still recommend an edge for wood, but the burrs work okay.
Okie, switching everything to inside cuts now.
Yeah, wait a minute. I think you did something while I was blabbing. You changed the bit diameter.
I changed the bit diameter.
Z-touched.
And Z-touched again on the surface of Workstation.
Okay, nice. We're changing everything over to inside cuts. We are going to keep that little offset that's just going to help everything fit, because this foam is soft and pliable, and in some cases it'll push itself out of the way. In some cases it can get too wobbly and actually suck into the bit.
Yeah.
One or the other usually. Foam never stays exactly where you put it. But let's just say we're adding a little bit of offset to this to help things fit in the foam.
Can I just say too that during that whole pocketing process, I did 3 different depth cuts and I didn't touch the depth button once?
That's nice.
Thank you, AutoPass.
Thank you, AutoPass.
All right, here we go.
So now again, Whenever we're doing a pocket, we come back with an inside cut to clean that up right to the line. So Jake's following this dotted line around. And you can see he's cutting a little bit past the black line. You can see the gray area that shows the cut preview and the blue area that shows what's been cut is going a little bit past the black line. That's that minus 0.02 inch offset in practice. And what's going on there is we're just, again, giving ourselves a little bit of buffer for that foam. But you can see that that negative 0.02 inch offset is, again, removing extra material. A negative offset always removes more material. A positive offset always leaves more material behind. You can't put material back with a positive offset, but you can leave more material behind. And we debated before this show whether we should do any kind of corner relief for these sharp corners. It's foam. It'll push out of the way. If you wanted to do a little dog bone relief in there, you absolutely could. The way that we usually do that with Origin is by bumping up that offset and plunging just in the corners so that you clear out a little bit extra in those corners right where you need it, but without following that path all the rest of the way around. Not bad at all.
Sweet.
Test fit?
Test fit. Bingo.
Yeah, bingo.
Nice little grab spot.
Combo square?
Like it was made for it.
Bingo.
Wow, that's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Great. There you go.
Cool. So, we have two more tricks to show you. One is what you do with bigger foam. So we've got a couple Systainers that we did ourselves. One of my favorite ones is a place to keep... Oh, you're going to go grab that board? Nice. One of my favorite ones is a place to keep some hand tools in this bigger Sys 1. So we've got some pockets cut out of this one for a hammer, for a chisel plane, a couple of block planes, a coopering plane, marking gauge, all this stuff. To cut this foam, this is not going to fit on a workstation. So you want to make a jig for this. And we actually covered this in the very first session that was ever done. Can you believe that? That was the very first session. Number one.
Was this?
Was this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So we've got this fixture. This is just cut out of MDF. On the back here, if we turn this around, we've got some boards that are planed down so that this whole thing equals the thickness of the foam. I would take this profile straight from that profile that's available on ShaperHub as a shared studio design. Cut that out, and then once that's scanned, you can always come back to this. You could do multiple toolboxes this way.
Yeah.
I've been slowly but surely organizing more and more of my own shop with this stuff. Feels really good.
It's very cool.
So go back and check out session number 1 for that one, and you will also see how far we've come since then.
Since it was in our own personal garages and we were all not in the office.
Yeah. The other tip is a really cool one that Jake figured out right before this show. So we're going to clean this up so that it looks a little less scuzzy fuzzy.
Yeah, so if you can get in close enough, maybe on that side camera, you'll see just the nature of it. It's going to move out of the way to cut, or you're not going to get a perfectly clean, crisp cut. You have some fuzz.
Yeah, you can see all those tool paths on there. So what are we doing?
A little bit of heat. Let that warm up on the heat gun.
Yeah, not too much heat.
Yeah, we're not trying
a little bit of heat.
Burn. We are just catching those
the fuzzies.
Feathers.
Oh, I can see it changing from here. It looks softer.
Just looks more professional. So especially if you're doing this as a gift for somebody, which great gift. Definitely take the 30 seconds it takes to hit it with a heat gun. There we go. Now we'll do a full assembly.
Here, let's do this on the overhead. Can we see that? Is that in? Yeah, that's great.
Boom. Bam. This is so satisfying. There we go. Ready to hit the road.
Good one. Yeah, you can measure stuff anywhere with that.
Just show that off on the side.
Oh, yeah. Good one. Beautiful. I think I want to make one of these for spoke shaves. It's the perfect size for spoke shaves.
That is a good call. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
That's the end. That's the end of the demo. We're going to roll into that Q&A, which is for live viewers only. So for you all, thanks for being here. If you're watching this on YouTube, join us at our next show. We're doing another one in 2 weeks.
Yes, we are. We'll see you there.
We'll see you there.